How's it going, guys? I'm Joe.
I'm Dominic. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, sir. We're, as always, blessing to be able to speak to you guys about the things that most are silent about. And today we'll discuss, a little bit of everything today, and what brought us here, and things that we're trying to achieve with the podcast. But I'll let Dom start with how he came about.
About everything?
Yeah.
All right. So if you don't know yet, the name of the podcast is Strong Doesn't Mean Silent, which I feel like speaks a lot for itself, but it's based off of a lot of kind of blue collar workers. All of us out here who struggle day to day. Growing up, we were taught, hey man, you're a man, suck it up, get over it, whatever. Nobody wants to hear about that stuff. And I think that's where we're trying to make the difference. We've learned, a lot of statistics are showing that, a lot of, out of the majority of suicides that happen every year, majority of them are men. And I think we're trying to make a difference in that. I have people that I've lost through mental health awareness. Joe himself has people who have struggled and who have lost that battle as well. So I feel like in this world we should make a difference, and we all have a purpose. And I kind of feel like this is the calling that we need to do. We need to be the voice, and we need to be that person that sits there and says, hey man, you're not alone out there. And hey, this world is a better place with you in it. So that's what we're kind of trying to achieve here. This isn't something to kind of go all crazy with. This is just us being that friendly ear to be there, that helpful shoulder to talk to, and kind of just someone to sit there and say, hey man, you're not alone in this world. And whatever you're going through, man, I'm sure there's plenty of us out there that have been going through it. And, we're all here for each other, kind of like a brotherhood. And we're trying to make a difference to be hopefully lower that number down, man, that statistic that, all the suicides that happen every year and everything that happens daily as far as men struggling and men losing that battle. I think it's time to make a difference and make a change for this, man.
Yes, sir. And when I got the call, and you talked to me about the idea of doing this, and I was just like, man, I'd love to be a part of that. One, because I'm passionate, but yourself, man, the dedication and ambition and drive that you have, since I've known you, about the things that you love and the things that you talk about, I knew, again, I couldn't say no to. So my thing for me is I love to help people, and like you mentioned, I've battled some mental health issues and anxiety, depression, and etc., and just didn't have that person or I felt no one I could turn to. I think that's the biggest thing about this podcast is that when we do feel those, and we're in those moments and we feel like we have nobody, we could turn to this and just give people hope that hey, there's other men out there that are going through the same thing I'm going through, and the answer is to sometimes we got to sit in silence and be patient and find ourselves again. So I think that was the biggest thing for me is being able to help people, and I just wanted to be, I knew I had to be part of that. So, but we're talking about statistics, and while I'm looking this up, you can go ahead and...
Which I looked it up already myself, man. So, this shows in the record of 2021. In 2021, approximately 727,000 people died globally by suicide. Men account for about 3/4 of that. So around 75 to 80% of those suicides is men.
Crazy.
And that is a lot. So that's about 545,000 out of those 727,000 were men.
That's a year?
And that's in a year.
That's
in 1 year. So to take it to actual day to day, you're looking. Actually, I'm sorry. I thought I had that spot right there, but I didn't have it. But if I did some more digging on it, I could probably find it, man. But I think still,
That's
in
a high
a
number.
year,
Yeah.
in a year, you're talking over 500,000 men struggle, and they don't win that battle.
Right.
And that's sad, man.
No, it is to know that they felt like they had no one, all 500,000 plus, they felt like they had no one to turn to, nothing to turn to, and then I think that's where you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, is when you get that feeling. You felt so much so that you lost yourself in that tunnel, and there was no light, that was the only way out for them. And again, that's why we're here, is to make a change, to have a purpose for somebody that is fighting and struggling to see that light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
Yeah, I think as someone just to be able to sit there and say, hey man, you're not alone in this battle, and I know a lot of times, man, we get these demons in our head, and you don't want to talk about it,
right?
You don't want to sit there, and you think it's a burden, and you think that just because you feel like if you talk to somebody that it's just a waste of time, and they don't want to hear it, and they got their own problems they're dealing with, they don't want to hear about my stuff, man, and so you try to just kind of bury it until in the end, man, you end up fighting your own demons, and then they've gotten stronger, and then now you're starting to believe everything that they're saying. You have no other naysayers but the ones in your head saying, you ain't worth it, that this world would be better without you anyway. And that right there, man, I think that right there should be enough that fuels, this podcast alone, to sit there and say, hey man, that's not true.
Right.
That, no matter what your mind's trying to tell you, because your mind's a strong thing, man,
yeah.
and you can believe a lot of things your mind said, because they can come up with different kinds of stuff.
Started making you to believe that you are actually alone, and that, what gets me the most, man, is how like, again, how the mind works, and our feelings, our emotions right behind that. Our mind will start to trick, I feel like, our emotions, and saying like, the way I'm feeling is true. Like, again, like, I'm not, when you start to feel depression, you start slowly just into the slump and not able to come and climb out of that hole that you're in. But that, again, I feel like the mind is behind that, tricking you, telling you that, these are the reasons why you should feel this way, and how wrong you are, and nobody cares, and once you start to feel that, man, it's a steep hole to get out of.
Yeah, and I almost feel like you compare it to something like quicksand, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the more you're trying to fight back, the more it's sitting there and just consuming you.
Yeah.
And it gets to that point, man, that it's scary. It's scary because it gets so believable.
Right.
And honestly, man, you have people who might sit there and be like, hey man, if you need anything, talk to me.
Right.
And honestly, half the time, dude, you've learned through past experiences of someone who you thought you could trust. You did confide in them, and you did bring that wall down and be like, hey, look, man, this is what's going on. And they flip it around.
Yeah.
They've sat there and either talked smack about you behind your back, or they sat there and went and made fun of you later on. And it's just like, you know what?
I think that's why a lot of people, think about it, a lot of people don't come forward, don't say anything because because they've ended up, going to somebody and them using that against them.